to Brews&Boxing, episode 12. Boxing is back, and we're back. All right, with me as always is the dapper one, the styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, named Filthy Rich. Filthy Rich, how you doing, buddy?
Good over here. What's happening, guys?
Way to match my intensity there, Filthy Rich. And also, some call him the Dream, some call him the Judge, some call him the Gridiron Einstein, or the Pigskin Wizard. He is the one, the only, the Jimmy James. What's up, Jimmy James?
Fine. Trying to figure out where you came up with them names.
All right. Well, hey, good talk. I'm fired up. You guys need to get a little fired up here. All right, let's get right into the brews and news. You boys ready?
Raider Live. Don't start with me today, Raider Live.
Let's hit that bell. All right, boys, boxing was back this week. But before we do any of that, because you guys thought I was going to forget, I wasn't. It's brews and news. We crack a brew, and boxing's back. And I salute to all that. Salute to the fine fighters getting back in the ring and fighting for our entertainment. Gentlemen. Oh, that's good stuff. As I said, boxing was back this week. I know it was very exciting to watch. Even though the fights weren't that great, it was great to see them again. As we talked about last week on last week's show, if you watched it and are looking at our view count, you haven't watched it yet. You should go back and watch that. Shakir Stevenson was in the main event. He fought Caraballo. Wasn't much of a main event, but it was fun to watch. It was basically watching a training session because Stevenson hit him like a heavy bag, but he had a lot of great combos. Eventually knocking him out in the sixth. I think I said last week he was going to knock him out in the third, so I was off on that one. With a body shot to the liver. It's always fun to watch a body shot knockout. He was definitely in a lot of pain. Referee, good stoppage. Filthy Rich, what'd you think of that main event?
I think you said third or fourth, so let's give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go with you said fourth. Let's just say that.
It could have been stopped earlier.
It probably could have been stopped in about the fourth or fifth. I tend to agree. Look, I gotta give props to Jimmy James. He was super excited about boxing coming back, and I sort of doubted it. I was very skeptical about the crowd. I didn't think the intensity and the atmosphere and the energy would be there. But let me tell you, maybe it was just ESPN doing a great job, but I was hyped watching that fight on Tuesday night. The whole card, this was all showcase, so don't think that we're going to be getting these pay-per-views right off the bat. These are all showcase fights. This is kind of a preview of what to expect in 2021. I was thoroughly entertained. I'm not going to leave it at that, but it is what I expected. My own personal opinion, I guess you could say, it exceeded my expectations. I was impressed, I guess.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I mean, it was kind of like preseason football. I mean, it was just kind of showcasing the guys very shortly. I mean, some future guys. I mean, there wasn't going to be any big, long knockdown, drag out fights, but it was good to get that taste again. Judge, what do you think about that main event between Stevenson? How do you think he looked? Do you think he's ready for the future pound for pound, as acquaintance of the show talks about, or was it just such a pushover fight that we really didn't learn that much?
Well, we'll do one correction real quick. It was a shot to the solar plexus is what put him down.
Yes, it was, yep.
And that's something that you don't see too often. So that was an interesting knockdown.
They said liver during the thing. That's why I said that. You're right.
Got corrected.
It was a shot, though. You're right.
Yeah, it got corrected. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's Stevenson he's Stevenson. He's going to be the future, a big name. He'll be in top three unless he falters big time. But he has some interesting stats on there. If you were watching it that they put up on the screen against him and Floyd Mayweather, that he actually gets hit less than Floyd Mayweather does. And I think the average punches that he was getting hit with per round was under 5. I think it was 4.7 hits per round, which is just crazy to see. this doesn't make any sense, especially because considering how many punches can actually get thrown in a a round of boxing. So, but yeah, it was
Even
it
if
was
the
what I
level of
expected.
competition's not that high, that's still an impressive number. That's a very
Well, yeah, it's
impressive
impressive at any point. I mean, this was the Miguel Cotto lookalike. This is who he was fighting, and I mean, it wasn't anything crazy fancy, but it was what I expected. It was definitely a little weird not having cheers or oohs and ahs when you have big shots being tossed around. And the undercard definitely had some fights that went real fast. Like you blink and you missed it, kind of stuff. But like I said, it was like preseason football. It's only going to get better, but it was good to see some of these guys haven't lost a step at all. So
Stevenson with some of them combos. I think in the second round where he did like 4 or 5 punch combo right in the face. Caraballo couldn't do anything about it. That was I did some oohs and ahs at my house watching that go ooh that just ooh. It looked brutal. It was Caraballo. He was a ham and egger. I mean, that's what it was. But Stevenson looked great. I want to talk a little bit about the undercard there too. As Filthy Rich was talking about it, it was a showcase card. Basically, we're showcasing future talent here, and there was some guys on there that had some very good talent and showed it off, including a guy that beat Shakir Stevenson in the Olympics. Filthy Rich, you were talking to me about that earlier. You want to talk about that now?
Well, I know the name slips me. I don't have my notes with me. But the guy beat Shakur for the gold medal in the Olympics. He lost his debut fight. Since then, I guess today he's had 3 knockouts in a row. So this might be the future for him. I know he's from Cuba, and the reason he got such a late start is because of the paperwork and all the issues with the past this country and I guess this country has had with Cuba. So that's why it took him so long to get started in the fight game.
Robusi Ramirez is who you're thinking of, right?
Yeah, Robusi Ramirez. Double R is like the true fans call him. But anyways, I think look out for him. Just because. Did I freeze there again? We're freezing all over the place. Just because you lose your debut fight, don't count anyone out. I believe I mentioned last week about Henry Armstrong. I'm pretty sure Henry Armstrong lost his debut fight. And if I'm wrong, tweet me, do what you got to do. But your career is not over because you have a loss on your record. Let's just get that out the way. But I'm sort of impressed with him. I think he displays the skills, but again, this is just a show. This whole card is a showcase. Thursday, I don't know what we're going to label this, but there's Thursday or tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. There's another 4 hours of fighting. So these are all showcase cards until we can get some fans in the stands and in the audience.
Yeah, there was another good heavyweight fight. Anderson, you were talking about, it's a good future. And as he was wearing the old New England Patriots trunks during that fight, too. I don't know if you saw that, but shout out to Bobby. But, yeah, you were telling me he's going to be a future star in the heavyweight division to keep an eye out for him, right?
Yes, he is going to be the people wonder why boxing has died, or why I like to call it on life support. And we will get into that in a couple weeks here with the fan question of the week. But this guy, I have as long as he keeps a straight arrow, he is the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's going to bring the heavyweight title back where it belongs in the United States. But be patient. It's going to take a couple years. The kid's only 20 years old. And I call him a kid. He's a grown man. But 20 years old, Big Baby Anderson. I don't know why he chose Big Baby, but he is the future of the heavyweight division. I don't know if you heard it here first, but you did hear it here.
Maybe you should hire a PR guy, come up with a better name for him. Maybe he needs to hire you there, Filthy Rich. You came up with the names, The Dream and The Judge and all that, Judge, what'd you think of the undercard there? Did anything impress you on the undercard there?
It was Robusi Ramirez was interesting to see. I completely forgot that Stevenson even had a loss. So that was interesting to have that piece of information brought back up. There wasn't too many stuff that was too crazy. Anderson did look good. He made his opponent kind of look a little silly at times, that's for sure. But no real names yet that I think warrant, besides what's already been said, to be brought up. So.
Now, Filthy Rich, you said Thursday's got some more fights coming up on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone you guys in particularly want to look for on that fight? I haven't even seen that card yet. You brought it up to me earlier.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the card. Jesse Magdaleno's on it. He's a big top-ranked guy. He's headlining it. I don't know if he's ever been a main event on any card, but that's why what we're going through right now is just showcasing. This is just a reminder of what boxing has to offer. And right now, ESPN is to my knowledge, is the only one offering anything. So I'm going to take what I got, and we'll let the bodies sort themselves out later down the line. But I wasn't, again, like last week, I was not that excited for boxing to return. But boy, was I wrong. I was super hyped yesterday, and I can't wait to be excited again tomorrow for a Jesse Magdaleno headline card.
Well, you missed it. He actually did headline one apparently here in 2018 at the VFW in Birmingham, Alabama. So I mean, it was fight night in Birmingham, Alabama, VFW. He headlined there, I believe. So, it was a
got me again, Raider Live.
Anything you seen on there for Thursday, Judge? Anything you want to touch on?
Nah, Magdaleno is going to be the guy you want to watch. The other feature was Adam Lopez versus Luis Correa, but I don't know. Lopez is the only name that I recognize, and it's just for a vacant title. So I don't think it should be too crazy. But Magdaleno, how do you say his name? Against Vicente, that's going to be an interesting fight. Even though Vicente's like 400 years old, he's still a decent fighter, being as old as he is. So.
Hey, Tom Brady's 400 years old, and he's still throwing it. So
yeah, but he ain't getting punches to the face.
And he might this year, And
Brady's cheated his entire career, so there's that.
Well, there's a lot of guys that have done that too, so don't worry about that. Excuse me, guys.
Just quickly, if I may.
I hope that cop filter helped on this thing.
The name slips my mind. I'm very unprepared, as usual. But the lady who tested positive for COVID-19, Michaela Meyer, I hope she gets back into the ring soon, because she will put on a show. And I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, because ESPN is putting a lot of shows on, I'm hoping we can get her in the ring and watch her, that this isn't like some foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when we do the Ladies Filthy 5, because that's going to be there's some really good women fighters out there that we need to touch on.
Filthy ladies out there.
That's right. The filthy ladies, because UFC brought in women fighters and it became a hit. I think women's boxing is going to make the same charge as it did in the octagon as it will in the ring, and it deserves our attention and it deserves our analysis. So I can't wait for that show. That's going to be a fun one to talk about. All right, boys. We talked about present in boxing. Let's talk about a little bit of the future. And we all saw the news that Fury and Joshua signed a 2-fight deal, the fight that we've talked about on this show that needs to happen. Sadly, it's going to come after they each have a fight or two. But it's a 2-fight deal starting in 2021. Filthy Rich, you were telling me some of the details about that fight that you heard exclusively, because I haven't been able to find them. So it's exclusive to Filthy Rich breaking news here. So go ahead and tell us what that news was that you heard about the 2-fight deal, especially the money split.
Yeah, so this exclusive news was available to everyone who watched the fight last night. It was on ESPN. It was announced that it's going to be a 50-50 purse split between the two, and the winner of the first fight will get the 60-40 split for the rematch. I also heard both fights. This, according to ESPN, this could all change for all we know. And at the time, the fight was not in stone, but it was it was announced by Tyson Fury that the oral agreement has been set, and Eddie Hearn, who promotes Anthony Joshua, has also said that they have come to terms. It just wasn't in stone at the time. That both fights will probably take place in Dubai, which is just talk about filthy rich. They are filthy rich when it comes to money, and I think summer 2021 they could probably we'll probably see an audience for some of these fights again. So those are like kind of the details I heard.
That really surprised me when you told me it was Dubai, because they're both British fighters, and if they put that fight in Wembley Stadium, you'd think that would be the biggest money play there would be. I mean, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think this is completely in stone yet. I think summer 2021, if that's when the first fight is, that's one thing. If by December of 2021 you can fill Wembley Stadium and there's no coronavirus in existence, I think the fight happens in England. That's just my opinion.
Especially if the first fight's a instant classic. I mean, the second fight's going to be huge. Fury Joshua, Jimmy James, you've talked about that in the past. How excited are you for that fight, and who do you have in that fight, first off?
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
But, I mean, if we want to break it down like this, I had Tyson Fury on my active pound-for-pound list. So I say Fury beats Joshua, but it all depends. Joshua was two different fighters when he fought Ruiz, those two fights. His first fight, he came out, he thought he was just slick and was going to walk all over this bum of a guy, and he got put in his place real fast, but he responded just how a champion should respond, and that's he put in the work, and he became he was a quicker fighter. He shed some pounds. He was lighter on his feet. He came to play, and he
found the eye of the tiger.
He worked him, and that's, I mean, essentially, in my opinion, Fury did the same thing to Wilder. I mean, Wilder and Fury came into that first fight, which was just a brawl, and then Tyson came in with a game plan, and he became heavier, and he was going to push his weight on top of Wilder, and Wilder couldn't handle it. He blames it on the 40 pounds of the mechanical crap that he was wearing on his body, but whatever, man. That's just a big excuse because he got outplayed on that one. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Fury is going to probably beat Joshua, but it all depends on how serious Joshua actually takes it. I think it's going to be a lot closer than those other fights. I think it's going to be a lot more technical, in my opinion.
It's definitely the heavyweight fight that needs to happen, but ESPN released an article today that says that if the fight happens, which, they've agreed to it, but apparently both have, two fights in front of them, some mandatories. Rich, we talked a little bit before the show. You think that's not going to happen, but Fury has his fight obviously against Wilder that he's got to fight again coming up. And then apparently he's got to fight Dillian White after that in a mandatory, which is interesting. And then Joshua is supposed to fight Bulgaria's Kubrat Pulev. And then after that, he's got a mandatory against Usyk. So chances are, I mean, I don't want to say chances are because they're going to be favored in every one of them fights, but there's a good possibility that there won't be as many titles on the line when they get to each other. If that happens, is that Filthy Rich? You seem to think that that's not going to bring away from the appeal of it. You think they're going to probably cancel the mandatories and forfeit the belts, but say Fury loses to Joshua coming up, or to Wilder coming up, or Joshua loses to an Usyk. Is that fight still going to be a super fight like it is? Is that something that's going to put that fight in jeopardy, scheduling it this far out?
Nothing's going to stop this Tyson Fury Joshua fight from happening. There's too much money in it. I don't see Usyk or Dillian White being a factor in any of this.
Well, here's the only thing I bring up with it is everyone thought Joshua versus Wilder was going to be the big money fight that we need to have. We need to have the Joshua Wilder fight. And then Wilder got his butt kicked, and, and then, Joshua lost. And all of a sudden, Joshua Wilder, that became like, okay, yeah, no one cares about that one anymore. Is that a possibility that could happen in this, Because if you go back 2 years ago, we're talking Joshua Wilder, that's the fight that needs to happen. And then, just 2 fights later, that's not a fight anyone really cares about anymore. That's what I was thinking when they said they have 2 fights in front of them. So,
well, Wilder didn't want to fight Joshua. It's really at its simplest terms, Wilder didn't want to fight Joshua. And we can get into the money and all that stuff's disputable. But if you're telling me you're offering me 3 times as much money as I made my last fight and I turn it down, it's because I'm afraid of you. And that's what happened. Wilder turned down 3 times the amount of money to fight Joshua. So Wilder didn't want any of that. That's my take on why Wilder and Anthony Joshua didn't happen. As far as like Kubrat Pulev goes, if Joshua, let's just say Joshua loses to Kubrat Pulev, then let him go fight Deontay Wilder. See how much money is in that fight. There's no money there. Kubrat Pulev can fight whoever he wants. Nobody's going to go to sleep tonight thinking, I can't wait for the Kubrat Pulev fight. We're all going to bed tonight thinking of Joshua, Tyson Fury. Some of us are going to think of Wilder. That's about it. No one's thinking about Usyk. Only the diehards think about Usyk.
You're not thinking about Usyk? I know judges think about Usyk.
That's the thing, though. If you're the diehards, think about Usyk. I can take a picture of Usyk and take it to the bar. No one's going to recognize him. Will anyone recognize Joshua or Fury? Probably not either. But Joshua is the king. Tyson Fury is also the king.
I think he's the king right now. He's the face.
We need to see the kings fight. We don't need to see like the second tier guys. Right now we have 2 kings. One guy who's beaten everyone in his way except for Ruiz. The other guy who calls himself the Gypsy King. Those who need to get it on. We're waiting, and let me tell you, I can keep waiting. I'm okay with Pulev. I'm okay with all these other mandatories, which aren't going to happen. You want to throw mandatories out there, that's fine. I don't care. They can lose all their fights. I still want to see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I want to see it too. But, I mean, Judge, you were raising your hand about Usyk there. If Usyk beats Joshua and beats him convincingly, does that change that fight? Does that suddenly make an Usyk Fury fight more tantalizing than, say, a Joshua Fury fight?
I mean, you're talking about Joshua and Fury are both in the UK. I mean, you made a good point. Why don't they put it at Wembley Stadium? I don't know why they wouldn't. They would pack the 100,000 fans in a heartbeat in that. If you want to talk about making money, yeah, they have it in Dubai, but holy moly, would you get that? Would be disgusting in the UK. However, there's a good chance of doing that stuff, trying to set it up in Dubai, because they're probably not going to have any strict rules as far as people gathering and stuff like that. That's my best guess for that, because I don't understand why you would do that.
That's got to be the reason. You're right.
But however, you guys also, this is the first I'm hearing that they had mandatory fights before 2021. I had no idea that they both had 2 fights that were trying to be lined up before all this happened. Like, that seems like 4 fights in a year and a half for those guys. Seems like a lot. So I'm probably with Rich. I don't think they might have 1 fight each. But to your original point, if Usyk takes somebody down, man, he's no joke. He has only had 1 fight in the heavyweight division, but I mean, there's a reason that he's in the talk for pound, and he destroyed everybody before he moved up. He destroyed everyone in cruiserweight. It was like no joke. So I don't know. I still think he's a draw. Pulev, he's not going to be a draw for anybody, but all the guys that you just named are not people to take lightly, and they could easily beat the other person with 1 punch. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a bigger draw than Fury and Joshua, but the only big one would be Joshua Wilder.
I mean, we've talked about Dillian White on this show. We've talked about Usyk. I'm the one that snuck him into the number 10 of our pound for pound because I had him ranked so much higher than everyone else, but it snuck him in there because I had him high. But, you know, Rich, you and me were talking about this a little bit earlier. If you want to get the public involved in it, you need to have that champion, you know, like for us, we don't care about belts. I mean, belts, they're meaningless. But if you're going to tell Joe Sixpack, hey, there's a big heavyweight title fight coming up this week, if they're not the champion because they gave up belts and it's only for whatever, I think that affects the buy rate. I think it really does. I think maybe as a promoter, you got to step back and go, well, we got to juggle this here. We have to juggle between, do we want all the belts to be on the line, or do we want to juggle the fact that my fighter may lose against a Dillian White or an Usyk coming up, you know? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know which is the higher risk, but I don't know, as the judge said there, I don't know if having 4 fights in a year and a half is a good idea, especially for these guys, because, you know, they swing for the fences. I mean, Josh was obviously a more technical fighter, but Fury, he ain't no joke. He hits hard, you know, and he takes punches hard, you know. So I don't know. It's interesting to say. You guys, any final thoughts on anything I talked about there?
Well, I'm not sure what you just asked. I know you started asking me a question. You kind of zoned out there, but the audience, Joe Sixpack does not care about belts. Joe Sixpack cares about America, and he wants a heavyweight title here. Tyson, when Mike Tyson was in his prime, even when he wasn't in his prime, didn't matter if Tyson had the belt or not. People wanted to see Tyson. They want to see him fight. And whether it was for the belt or not doesn't matter, but at some point, the public wanted to see, at least here in the States, the public wanted to see Tyson get the belt, and it didn't matter who was in his way. And I think that's what's going on here. Oh,
you don't think Tyson was a bigger draw after he won the heavyweight title?
I don't know when he against
he won it at like 20 years old. Then he was like the youngest heavyweight champion, I think.
So who did he beat? Tell me who he beat.
For the heavyweight title?
Because no one knows who the heavyweight title was. We just knew Tyson was the best. I think he beat Spinks in like 86, but he kept going on and just beating everybody. Take the belt from him. Nobody cares about that belt because he's not fighting a mandatory. Go ahead, just put someone in front of him. The people will buy. That's the other thing with these mandatories. You can buy your way out of these mandatories. All you got to do is pay the fee to the governing body, and they will waive your mandatory. So you don't want to fight Kubrat Pulev because Tyson Fury is the bigger buy? Give us the dollars, and we'll make sure you keep your belt. That's what will happen. It has been happening for 20 years now. I mean, this is not.
Do you think that happens though when it's a bigger fighter? Because Pulev isn't the mandatory. It's Usyk is the mandatory. You think those bodies are more willing to take the bribe money if it's a bigger fighter like an Usyk or a
I like how you said bribe money, but it doesn't matter if it's Pulev or Usyk or White or whoever it is. If me, the WBO, tells you, Anthony Joshua, that your number one contender is Joseph Parker, and you say, no, I'm going to go fight Tyson Fury because I can make 20 times the amount fighting Tyson Fury, then I say, hey, if you want to keep your belt, you give me 6 figures and you keep your belt. And because you're going to make 20 million, 30, 40 million on that fight, 6 figures ain't nothing. You give me that money, you get to keep your belt, and you get to go make your 20, 30, 40 million dollars. That's the way it works.
So you think they're just going to cancel the mandatories then is what you're thinking?
They're going to make Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua each other's mandatories, yes.
Okay. James, you have anything to add on that? Okay, good talk.
Nope. This is some blues and news today, boys. Woo!
Yeah, we got a little heated. I like this. This is a little some spunk in this fight. Once we get some fights back, we got a little fighting spirit in us. That was fun. All right, boys. That was some good news. We hit a lot of news there. We hit there for a while there. So if you tune into us for news, which I hear a lot of fans come back, they love our news. You got a good heaping of it today, over a half hour of it. So, but right now it's time to move on to the Filthy Five. And Filthy Rich is the defending champion from last week. After a 2-week hiatus, he won his belt back. But he faces Judge Jimmy James this week, otherwise known as the Dream when he's in the ring, in the Cruiserweight Division, 175 to 200. And we agreed before the show, it was a late scratch, as we call that in the horse business, a late scratch, that we were not doing Gassiev in these rankings because he's officially moved up to heavyweight. He moved up last year, got hurt. I don't think he's had a fight there yet, has he? I don't think. But
no fight yet. He got hurt.
He declared himself, right?
Declared heavyweight in March of 2019. Got hurt. Supposed to have a fight in July of 2019. Still has not fought. So because of that, because it's been so long, I'm not 100% sure if he's going to stay at heavyweight or not, just because of how long it is. But we're gonna remove him from this list and consider him a heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, if you watched last week's show, and if you haven't, go back and watch it, please. We talked about the Cruiserweight division isn't that exciting. The heavyweight division is more exciting. So he's probably going to stay up in the heavyweight division. I'd imagine that's where he's going to make more money up there. So it's okay not calling him a cruiserweight. But we do have some cruiserweights that are good to talk about here. Our experts told you the best ones, or are going to tell you the best ones to check out. And Filthy Rich, as the defending champion, you get to go first with your number 5.
As a defending champ, I just want to say peace off to Alexander Vozdik, who ended his career just recently.
Oh, how did I forget that in the news? We ran long on the news.
Alex Vozdik, I hope you get back in the ring. There's plenty of fights out there. There's plenty of money out there. Whatever you got to do, do it. But we hope you come back. You can always be an undercard guy. We can tell some stories later.
Yeah, Vozdik, he was a great fighter. We talked about him here. He only lost to Beterbiev in his career. And if that's the only loss you have in your career, that's a hell of a career that you have. He's only 33. I think he'll probably get back in the ring. I mean, that's young for a boxer. When it comes to comebacks, we're talking about Tyson coming back at 53. So he's got 20 years in front of him that he can make a comeback at any time. And
Mike Tyson's not making a comeback at 53. Tyson's fighting a charity fight. Let's not get
you hear him talk, you never know. Hey, George Foreman won the belt at what 45 years old?
James, can you get him?
Let's get off that. Get off that.
Thank
Filthy
you,
Rich,
James.
Cruiserweight.
Goodness.
Number 5. Who do you got?
My man Vozdik was 33, and at number 5, I've got another 33-year-old who is the grandpa of this division. So yeah, 33 is old. Krzysztof Glowacki, 31-2. What I like most about this guy, he has fight in him. I don't even know what he does. It's not like he's got this defense or this offense. He just kind of stands out there, takes punches, but can also dish them out as well. His only losses came to like Usyk, who everyone loses to, and a guy by the name of like Maris Breidis. I think that's how it's pronounced. But Glowacki, when he beat, I believe it was in 2015 or 16, Marco Hook. I mentioned that last week. Check that fight out. That put him on the map for me. I've got Krzysztof Glowacki at number 5.
All right. Judge Jimmy James, who you got at 5?
Well, I think my list's going to be a little crazy, Rich.
Mine too. This is a tough division, everyone.
I don't think it's too tough. I just think I don't know, man. I think I went a little nutso on this one, but my number 5, I have Arson Gulam, who is, if you've seen his picture on Ring Magazine's website, he looks like a psychopath, like he is on some meth or something, which is funny because he doesn't really look like that when you watch his fights. But he's 26-0. He's got 18 knockouts. I mean, the reason I got him at number 5 is it's not that he's a terrible fighter per se, but he literally has one move. And let me just paint this picture for you. So his move is he puts you on the ropes, then he takes his straight left and then a right hook, and then a straight left and a right hook, and a straight left and a right hook, and a straight left and a right. And he just does that over and over and over until you either move or until it stops. And that's it. He has no other punches. There's no defense. He does that. That's it. It is ridiculous. It's so weird, but that's it. It's still effective for him right now. But
so is it like a Tyson punch out kind of deal where he's got the bull charge and that's what he's got?
I don't. It's just
Stick
weird.
with what works?
It's just left, right hook, left, right hook. Like it's coming and people don't move or they can't get out. And it's not like he's throwing people on the ropes. I don't know. It's super weird. Watch some of his fights. It's super funny if you notice that over and over and over again. But
is it as good as Dillian White's left hook?
Well, he's got a right hook, so I'd say no. But yeah, that's Arson.
50-50 shot of making that cool.
No, next time. Do it next time. But Arson Gulam, or however you say his name, that's what I have for number 5.
Yeah, I had a Gulamarian, but I've never seen him fight. I'm gonna go watch him fight though. Actually, after you talked about it, I looked it up here as I judge it here, and that is a creepy photo. that looks like he just
put it
got
on the
arrested
screen.
He looked like he got arrested for eating people,
dude.
Basically,
great bath salts or whatever. It looks so messed up, but
it's like, I want that as my driver's license photo. That way, that if I get pulled over, they're just not messing with me. There should be like, hey, we gotta get rid of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I may never be let into a bar again, but
no.
All right, James, who you got at your number 4?
So here, this is gonna probably throw you off for a tip here, Rich. But my number 4 that I have is Brightest.
Wow.
And there was probably a pretty good notion that he might be number 1 in this division after Gassiev being out there. So, but I have him as my number 4. He's 26-1. He has 19 knockouts. Let me tell you why he's at number 4 for me and why he's not higher. His last 2 fights were against Krzysztof Glowacki, the Polish guy, and Noel Gevor, or Norer Mikulayan. Whatever. He's got 2 different names, but
Cruiserweight Division's got a very hard names to pronounce.
But
look, get that out right now for those watching at home.
Yeah, so
read the names are printed here.
Yeah, it's tough. But so his last 2 fights, there is against Gevor, which was the fight furthest away. There is, if you watch this fight with how many points were deducted, I have no idea how he won the decision on this fight. It is crazy. There is no way he should have won that fight.
What were the points deducted for? Low blows or headbutts or what?
It was just watch it. I don't even want to give nothing away. Just watch it. Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. The unofficial scorecards had it like a 5-point difference, and it's just one of those like whatever, man. Either way, his last fight against Glowacki, like Brightest was so cheap. He threw an elbow at him in the jaw after they were trying to break something up, which definitely messed up Krzysztof big time. And then in the second round, well after the bell was rung, he walked up and punched Glowacki right in the face and dropped him.
The referee didn't stop it?
No, it just maybe it was a super bad ref. I don't even remember who reffed it. That fight was so unbelievably terrible. And how he only got the win because, I mean, I don't know, man. Like he only got the win because of some really cheap shots.
TKO in the third round in that fight.
Well, yeah, if you take an elbow to the jaw and then get knocked out after, and at the end of round 2 after the bells rang for like 5 seconds, like, dude, I don't know. Anyway, going on a little rant there. Apologize for that, Rich, but Brightest is who I have at number 4.
Interesting. So let me just jump in a little bit here. He did beat Rich's number 5, but you're saying in a shall we say unsportsmanlike way. He's kind of a cheapskate a little bit.
His last 2 fights, do a rematch against Christoph. I guarantee he loses. Do a rematch against Gavor. I guarantee he loses. I don't think he beats put him against Gulam Arion. How are you gonna with the 2-punch combo? How are you gonna ever break that, dude?
Marion? Yeah, I mean, well, then maybe you should have flipped them around.
Well, look, he's 26-1 still. Either way, I don't know, man. I don't have high hopes for him. I think he's a poor human being. But I don't know. That's what I got for 4. I'm done talking about this. Pass it off to Rich.
All right, Rich, who you got it for?
Oh boy, number 4, I got Andrew Tabiti, the American. I don't know what to do with this division. This division is a mess. It really is. There's nothing very glamorous. I almost feel like it's number 1 and the rest, and we may not even agree on who number 1 is. Maybe this whole division might be the rest. I have Andrew Tabiti, number 4. He's got some work to do to be 4th in this division, and you're not even that polished. Again, he has some work to do, but you're 30 years old at this point. If you haven't polished if you haven't honed your craft in by now, I don't know what to tell you. 18-1, 13 knockouts. His only loss was to Doritos.
Doritos?
Take it away. I can't add much. He's an American. He was in the Olympics. He's Floyd. He's on the money team. So he's probably going to retire with some money if Floyd manages his career properly. I want to like him. Glavatsky is like the old guy who I've watched and I really like because he does have heart and he looks like the guy you sat next to at the bar who you would have never guessed was a boxer. Andrew Tabiti at least looks like it. He's the only cruiserweight on the money team. I have him at 4 because, I mean, I basically just laid out 52 cards, flipped his name over. It said Andrew Tabiti.
So apparently none of you guys want to be the booker for any Cruiserweight Division fights coming up here.
Oh, God. It's a lot of European guys. They're hard to watch because we don't have access to these guys. No disrespect to any of them. Maybe we're just missing something, but
well, it sounds like we had some disrespect to Brightest or whatever his name is, but
I do.
But, yeah, we have disrespect to that guy. But to the rest of them, yeah, no disrespect. We just don't see you that much. But all right, Rich, who you got at 3?
I got Burritos at number 3. The guy we all the guy we're all disrespecting. I got Burritos at number 3. And look, I don't even know if we're saying his name right. I know his little stat sheet. His stat sheet says he lost to Usyk. Everyone loses to Usyk. I get it. But in the fights I saw, he has that Lomachenko in him. Did I just say that?
Wow.
Believe me, I'm not comparing the two. He's a Latvian kid. Here's the deal. If you're well versed on Vasyl Lomachenko, he has a way to beat your defense. When you have your guard up, Lomachenko takes his fist and pounds your guard down and hits you in the face with his other hand or with that hand. Breedis does the same thing. You have your guard up, he hits your hand down and socks you in the face. Outside of that, he just doesn't have the height at heavyweight, so he has to make weight to stay at cruiserweight. All these dudes are like 6'1", 6'2". They're not giants. But I know what he's doing with that kind of defense. I'm glad someone else other than Lomachenko is doing it. That's why I put him at 3. I think he beats Tabiti. I think he beats Glavatsky. I think he beats the best of the rest. Yeah, I guess he did beat Glavoski, but I mean, he beats all them guys. Again, this is a very best of the rest division, so I have him at number 3.
Does he pull your guard down and hit you with his elbow? Is that what he does? Or
I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's in his arsenal. I'm pretty sure he got that one up his sleeve.
Judge says that's in his arsenal for sure. I mean, so all right. He's got him up as high as 3. I've seen a lot of people have him at 1, but listen, you guys talk. I'm glad that you guys don't have him at 1 because he doesn't sound like a guy that I'd like to watch. He kind of sounds like that lady at the end of $1 Million Baby. You guys remember that fight? Bringing that one back, bringing women's boxing back a little bit, But all right, James, who do you got at number 3?
I mean, real quick, you can still watch the guy fight. I mean, he is a little fast on his feet for being a cruiserweight, but he's just cheapskate. Anyway, at number 3, I have a Brit, Lawrence Okolie. And I apologize if I'm battering any of these names, but he is young. He is 24 years old. He's 14-0, 11 knockouts. He is a very, very tall cruiserweight. I think he is 6'5". His nickname is the Sauce. I like the nickname because that makes me laugh. Because he is lost in the sauce. You never want to get lost in the sauce.
That should have been your nickname when we started the show. Give me the Sauce James. That would have been.
You can always change it.
No.
You can always change it.
No.
Do your magic, Raider Live. Do your editing.
Overruled. Anyway, the only big knock I have on him, besides the fact that he has no real resume per se, is that his legs are kind of scary skinny.
Chicken leg.
I feel like someone could just accidentally punch his quad and break his leg in half. It looks, it just doesn't look right. And I really hope that he does some leg presses or some squats or something to get his base a little bit better. But he seems like he's got some pretty good power, some pretty good speed. He's pretty agile too for being that tall, but it's kind of a stretch going for him. But Lawrence Okolie is who I have at number 3.
Would you call him the friend of the show, Joe Sweat of the Cruiserweight Division? Is that what you call him?
I think Joe Sweat has thicker legs than this guy.
Wow, that's really skinny, Dad.
It don't look right. All right.
Right on. Thank you, Joe Sweat, for your question last week, by the way.
It's about 6'5", right? 6'5"?
Sweat is
Sweat is 6'6".
No, not Sweat. This guy.
6'5", yes.
6'5", yeah. He's got some long, skinny legs. He has broad, wide shoulders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is a bit awkward. But in this division, I mean, you could have him as low as 10 and as high as 1, and I wouldn't argue. I mean, it's just how it is.
So would you say that that's probably what's keeping him out of the heavyweight division? He's a true cruiserweight in the fact that he's tall but can't gain the weight to get up to the heavyweight. He's got the height, but because you talked about it earlier, a lot of these guys are short, and that's why they're not making it to the heavyweight. This guy's tall, but he can't put on the weight to do it. He doesn't have the build.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. He's 24 years old, man. He's
right.
Growing into that.
Probably done growing at 24, I'd imagine.
Well, Sebastian Fundora is 6'6". He's 6'8". He's 154 pounds. So, I mean, he could move it. He maybe just doesn't have the skills yet. I don't know what it is, but kind of with you there on Lawrence Okolie.
All right. Well, Judge, you got, or should I say, Jimmy, the Sauce James?
No. You shall not say.
I'm going to try to make that stick.
Don't you?
I'll help you.
Just when we see him walk into the bar, hey, there's the Sauce.
Sauce, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sauce has entered the building.
Hey, he's not in a good mood today. Would you call him little saucy? I'm sorry. Okay. We had a little pregame fun today. So, Judge, what do you got at number 2?
So number 2, This is what I think might be Richie's number one.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But number two, I actually have Uniel Dorticos.
Doritos.
He is 34 years old, like most of the people in this division. 24-1, 22 knockouts. He only loss is to Gassiev. And just like Usyk, it seems like everybody lost to Gassiev. It's probably why he's not in this division anymore also. He beat Tabiti, which is his big name. I think that Tabiti's only – that might be Tabiti's only loss.
Right.
Is toward Dodikos. And then he also beat Kurdyashov, who's a Russian boxer who is no joke in this division, but he's old now. But one interesting fact about Dordikos is back in 2006, when he was fighting in the light heavyweight division, he lost to Artur Beterbiev in fights, which is pretty crazy in the World Cup of the World Boxing Cup. So I didn't know that. So that's kind of interesting. But either way, I think Dordikos is a pretty solid a guy at the Cruiserweight division. I think he beats all the guys below him, just like Richie always says. And I think him and my number one would be a pretty good fight. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have too much else to say. Dordikos is my number two.
Well, that's interesting. I'm really curious to see who you have in your number one. Then I think I could figure it out, but still, it's interesting that you don't have. I call him Cool Ranch.
I can't figure it out.
I can't either. Rich, who do you got at number two?
Got an Abel Sanchez guy. Arson Gulamarian.
Oh, what?
At number two.
Wow.
Here's what I like. For one, look, he's undefeated. Big deal. He has 18 KOs. That's kind of a big deal. I don't know. Maybe not. But what I love, he reminds me of Beterbiev so much. Where you're right. All he does, at least from what I've seen, is he just comes forward and absorbs punches. And at some point, you're out of steam. He hits you back. Game over. When I got a Gulamarian, he just looked like Beterbiev. I was very impressed by him. I know he's not very – what is he, number 5 on your list? I put him at number 2 because there was just something about Beterbiev I saw in him. I thought he could have been number 1 going in here. Obviously, by process of elimination, you do know who my number 1 is. I am curious to know who your number 1 is, but I'll just leave it at Arson Gulamarian, an Abel Sanchez guy, at number 2.
Interesting. All right. I'm going to guess that we're not going to have a BIB champion this week.
Not this week.
I don't think we're going to have it, but we're still going to go through the process that we do. Filthy Rich, without explanation, who is your number 1?
Dordikos.
Okay. And Jimmy Names, I assume since you have him at 2, you probably don't have him at 1. Who is your number 1?
He is not number 1. I'm surprised that he's not on your list. But my number 1 in this division,
I know who you're gonna say,
is Ilunga Makabu.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, first we get to start out with Filthy Rich as the defending champion. Talk about Dordikos, Cool Ranch. Go ahead and talk about him.
Really, I wanted to put Gulamarian at number 1, but you have to have the body of work. I need to see a name or two on your resume, and he has nothing on there. So I put Dordikos up there. His only loss was to Gassiev, who is not on our list.
Real quick.
Go. Yeah.
If Gassiev was on your list, where would he be?
I was going to ask you the same thing, and I mean, I would have him.
I was going to ask you both. That's my host duty. I was going to ask you that afterward.
Here, I'll do it real quick. You know where he's at?
God, do you have him at number 1?
Yes.
But what?
If Gassiev is still in this division, he is number 1 by far.
I agree with that. I mean,
so, anyway, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, Rich. Sorry about that. I was just curious.
No, man. It's
you have that 1 too, Rich, or what?
I don't know. It would be 1, 2, or 3, somewhere in there.
Agassi, if you could be a possible BAB champion, if you were to move back down, just keep that in mind if you want, since you're coming back.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he comes back as cruiserweight. Maybe while everyone else gained weight during the stay-at-home order, maybe he lost weight and wants to stay at cruiserweight because there's no money. Well, there's always money in the heavyweight division, but yeah, if he were ever to stay at cruiserweight, yeah, he probably would be number 1 or 2. I don't know. He'd probably have to fight someone else. I don't know.
You can't put him behind Guzmarian, could you? I mean, and that's your number 2. I mean, would you put him behind Dorticos?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, let's get back to the Filthy Five here on your number 1 of Dorticos. We got some judging to do here, so I want to know why you like Dorticos at your number 1.
I thought I guess because he beat Tabiti. Again, 1 through 10, we just shake the dice and whatever you roll, you get. That's the spot you get. I mean, it's not that I'm not completely sold. I think Dorticos, Gulam could probably beat him, but again, just like we did with Fury and Joshua's resume is so much better than Fury's. I put Joshua number 1, where I think Fury could beat Joshua, but Fury hasn't beaten anyone. So I put Dorticos number 1 because at least he's beaten someone. Gulam hasn't beaten anyone. I got to just leave it at that. I'm not going to keep defending it, but I'm okay with Dorticos being number 1. And even Jimmy James has Ilion, I can't remember the guy's name, at number 1.
Ilunga. Makabu.
He does not have a resume either. He hasn't beaten anyone.
Straight out of Wakunda.
I think Dorticos beats him, but go ahead. I've yield my time.
He yields his time. The gentleman yields his time to the sauce, Judge Jimmy James.
No, that's terrible. I don't like it.
You're going to make it stick.
Either way. So, look. So I had Ilunga Makabu. I'm kind of surprised it's not on your list. He's got 2 losses, but he lost his pro debut. I ain't counting that as a loss. He's got 1 loss on his record, and he lost to Tony Bellew. How do you say his name? Bellew?
Bellew, excuse me.
Bellew. I am not putting a knock on him for that because Bellew ain't no slouch, man.
Right.
And if you actually watch the fight, he got knocked out the same way Lubin, Erickson, the Hammer Lubin, got knocked out when he was leaning forward and a punch just happened to hit him square and just dropped him. So I'm not knocking him for that. He is 27-2 with 24 knockouts. That is some disgusting power. If you've seen his left hook, watch his fights. It's gross. He will sit there with his right hand or with his right hand up and all of a sudden pop this, and people just it's crazy to see, and it's like that. But you say he doesn't have a resume. I disagree with that. I think Pepin ain't a big name, but Cezalak and Kurdashov, those guys are not slouches in this division.
Yeah, Raider Live, they're not slouches.
I'm talking to you. Jeez, I'll be passing that off. Anyway, that's what I'm saying, man.
If these cruiserweights find me, I'm dead. I mean, these guys are this whole division's a bunch of slouches. There, I said it. I'm hiding. Because I make cruiserweight. I'm a cruiserweight. I'm at weight for cruiserweight, so we're at the same weight class. Go ahead, Jimmy James.
Yeah, I mean,
Sauce.
Now, not continue. No, man, like he's no joke. His 1 loss that I'm giving him shouldn't even have been a loss. If he would have fought Bellew, God, I can't say it. Bellew. Again, I think it would have been a much better fight. I think that he puts on a show against anybody else on my list and on your list, Rich. And I don't think you need to take him lightly because his power, I think, in this division is unmatched. If he hits you with that left hand, you are in a world of hurt.
Oh, all right. Interesting Filthy Five here, boys. We're running a little long, but that's fun because boxing's back, and that's what we're doing here. Last week, you guys interrupt me before I got the decision out there. Do you guys want to just jump in? Anything that you want to talk about? Maybe you'll talk about Gassiev a little bit before I throw the decision out there.
No, we'll wait for you to throw your decision before we interrupt you.
All right. Well, I'm sitting here judging it. If you're watching the show, you see me look to the right. It's because I'm typing different points that these guys make so I can judge on the points and also judging their name, or not judging their names, but putting the names in that these guys have because I have no advanced knowledge of their lists before the show. I'd like to be surprised when they put it out there and listen to their arguments. So this week, I got it 4 rounds to 1. With putting some sauce on it, the judge, Jimmy James, winning this week, dipping his toes back in that title, in that sauce, winning it. Congratulations, Judge Jimmy James. You are our Filthy Five champion of this week, regaining your title. And that means you also get a free 30 seconds, or if you're like Filthy Rich last week, a minute and a half, to talk about anything that you want to talk about. Go ahead as I throw Filthy Rich on mute right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, you threw me off with the sauce comment. This mumbo jumbo about the sauce, man. I ain't eating chicken nuggets. Anyway, I don't even know what's happening. This division could have went a lot of different ways. I'm happy to regain the title again. I think next week will be something different. Can make a fight, or you make a case for any of these fighters. I think it's just a good time. I'm glad boxing is back. Everybody that it was a casual fan, keep watching boxing. It's going to get better once fans hit the stands. Just keep watching boxing.
All right. Good talk here as I take Angry Man up there who's covered in sauce off mute here so we can talk about that. But congratulations, Judge Jimmy James, winning the Filthy Five this week in the Cruiserweight Division. Did a lot of homework. Learned a lot of things about the Cruiserweight Division that I didn't know about. Thank you both to our experts about the Cruiserweight Division. Even though it's not the most exciting division in boxing, it's still boxing. You should still learn about it. It's there's going to be some stars coming out of here eventually, maybe 1 or 2 guys. Makabu sounds like an interesting guy that I want to go watch here a little bit. Maybe not watch this Brightest guy. It doesn't sound like he's someone that I want to watch. But, yeah, very good job, gentlemen, as always. And let's move on to the 13th round. All right, boys, 13th round, we talk about something inside of sports or something dealing with sports a little bit, but not necessarily boxing. And I'm going to go off a little bit on this one. I pulled my channel host card on this one, where I can talk about what I want, because I vetoed everything and I made the decision this week. And I want to talk about a little bit that life is kind of returning to normal. We have not all the way normal. Obviously, there's going to be a new normal, but it's getting closer. We got live sports again, which is fun to watch. You see I'm wearing a shirt that says Tailgate Neighborhood Bar and Grill. That is a bar in Richfield that all of us have frequented over the years. They've been very, very kind to us. And Filthy Rich, you and me actually got to go. There was their grand opening today after COVID, and they've been closed since mid-March. So the last time we were there was snow on the ground. And yesterday was 90 here in Minnesota. So that's how long it's been. And it was fun to kind of sit in there. We sat and talked a little bit of how much you miss just the little things of sitting around, sipping a beer out of a tap, watching. I think we had poker on TV, and I think you turned to me and said, I don't even care that it's poker on TV. It's just nice to be sitting here talking sports again. We got to talk a little bit about MLB baseball. The draft was on. We got to talk about some NASCAR stuff. We'll get into that a little bit. We also had a little party here the other day from everyone with the channel. We had Ryan Hype here. We had Judge Jimmy James here. We had Filthy Rich here and a bunch of other people playing some yard games and having some beers and doing some barbecue. So life is kind of coming back to normal a little bit here. And I like to touch on that a little bit, just kind of see how you guys are feeling about life. Are you kind of a little hesitant to jump back into it? Are you just ready to go gung-ho into it? what do you guys think about? And then we'll get a little bit about baseball. We'll get a little bit about NASCAR too. But I just want to know how you guys feel about jumping into normalization again, so to speak. Judge, you won this week, so let's go ahead and start with you.
I mean, I don't know, man. Personally, I'm still a little. I'm gonna be on the naysayer side, I guess. I'm not gonna be jumping back into it as quick as other people will be, just because I'm not essentially fearful for myself. It's just other people. I'm fearful for people that I know and love. So personally, I can wait, but yeah, I mean, it would be nice to go back to the bar, and see some of the people that we've always seen up there and have conversations, and not have to do it through Zoom or something like that, which isn't, I mean, this isn't terrible. This has actually been pretty good to realize that you can actually connect with people outside of all that, considering we have so much technology anyway. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be a little slower than most probably to come back to it, but I'm still excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, the bar we went to today, I just want everyone to point out that they are following health protocols. Everyone there, all the staff had masks on and shields on. They only allowed 50% capacity. You had to make a reservation. All the seats were 6 feet apart. It was about as safe as you can get without being 100% safe. I mean, there's going to be risk and everything that, but they're doing it the right way. And, it just felt good just to do it again, just to see people that you're used to seeing, once or twice a week, and you don't get to see them very often. You haven't seen them in months. And it was fun to see. Rich, I spent that time up there with you. You got any comments about that? I mean, you don't have to say publicly you were there, I guess. So, I said it and may post a picture below. But
It's not in Richfield. It's in Minneapolis. Don't confuse the two.
South Minneapolis, Richfield. It's right on the border. It's literally on the border.
It's Minneapolis.
Okay. Minneapolis.
It's not no filthy Richfield. It's Minneapolis. It's my neck of the woods. It was a good time. I forgot what it was.
You don't know, the Richfield is actually named after Filthy Rich, and then he moved out.
Cut me off, Raider Live. Sorry, it's my turn to speak. You already muted me. Don't make me mute you. Did you hear that? Oh, oops.
Yeah, I heard you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oops. So yeah, it was a good time. It was interesting. I almost forgot what it's like to just sit there at the bar and watch television and drink beer. And it was not an empty house. Wasn't a full house.
Nope.
I'm okay with that. I don't need Mr. Know-it-all. I know everything about COVID-19. I don't need him breathing over my shoulder, telling me all the conspiracies. So it was nice to be able to sit there and relax and remember what it was like to be able to go out in public and not have to be forced to do anything. I thought I needed a mask. I didn't bring my mask. It was a mistake. I should have brought mine, but I will next time. I don't know when next time will be, but it was nice. It was nice to be there for the christening. Who knows when we'll make it out there again. I'm kind of on Jimmy James's side on this. I'm kind of with the sauce on this one. When I want to like ease into it very slowly.
So you got to heat up that sauce real slow.
Objection.
It was fun. I mean, and I also want to say that as we're opening up here, please support your local establishments. Don't go to Denny's and Chili's and stuff like that. Go to mom and pop bars or neighborhood bars. The small businesses that really hurt from this. The ones, do it safely.
Not Applebee's.
No, not
Your
Applebee's.
Neighborhood bar and grill.
Unless you want diarrhea, don't go to Applebee's. But go to the local spots safely. Go there safely. I mean, me and Filthy Rich, I just want to point that out. We did that safely. We were spread apart.
I stayed away from Raider Live.
Yeah,
Had I known he was going to give the show to Jimmy James, I'd have been tight with him, but I did not talk to him at all today.
Yeah, well, that check didn't clear, I bought 2 beers to your 1. That's why Jimmy won. No, just kidding. But Just kidding on that. But, yeah, be safe going out there. But it was fun watching sports again. And sports are coming back. I know, Filthy Rich, you wanted to talk a little bit about NASCAR news today. I don't know anything about NASCAR because I literally don't care about NASCAR in the slightest. I think watching people drive, 100 miles in circles is similar to driving in downtown Minneapolis. It's reckless and stupid and boring. So, but you have some news about NASCAR. Go ahead.
We should all know the news by now. They have finally banned fans from bringing in the Confederate flag. The company itself, the NASCAR brand, banned the Confederate flag from all of its. I don't know NASCAR either. Let's not put me on the spot like I'm this NASCAR guy. I don't know anything about NASCAR, but they finally banned the Confederate flag from their events. We should all know this, and I think we should all go out there and watch some races just so they know that while they may have lost some of those Confederate fans, you've also gained some other fans, and we should be supporting this. Watch a couple races. Just have the TV on. Go to your local bar and leave the TV on. But somehow we need to let the NASCAR brand know that since you have done this, you have gained more fans. This is a smart move, NASCAR. Thank you.
Yeah, when you told me that news, I was like, that didn't happen 50 years ago? I mean, why? That's still a thing? And apparently they banned it from their cars years ago, but now they banned fans from bringing it in now too, right? So it's off their TV, and thank goodness. I mean, I'm sorry. If you're watching the show and you're still wearing a Confederate flag, you can just unsubscribe because, you know what? Yeah. You know how we feel about you at this point. I don't even have to say it. We also watched a little baseball draft. The only thing I know is the Minnesota Gopher went 3 overall. I mean, that was pretty cool. You have anything to touch on baseball or sports-wise or NASCAR-wise there, Judge?
No, baseball draft, to be honest, for me that's got to be the most boring draft on the planet, man. You're talking about drafting a kid that you ain't gonna see for 7 years. Like, man.
Well, then let me throw something at you that you can respond on here, because I know you don't know much about NASCAR, as do I not. And we don't follow baseball drafts because it's probably the most boring draft that there is, maybe outside of hockey. Hockey drafts are pretty boring too. But something that hit us home here, and you are the Gridiron Einstein or the Pigskin Wizard, as known. We live here in Minnesota, Minneapolis strong, and the news has been broke that Dalvin Cook is going to hold out until he gets a new contract. What's your thoughts on that? I know you have some thoughts on that, and it's going to affect our fantasy show coming up, which you need to tune into when that actually premieres. You'll find out on the channel, but when that does. But talk a little bit about Dalvin Cook getting a new contract. Should he, and will he, and is he going to sit out?
Yeah, that was some interesting news because I didn't see it coming. Do I think he deserves it? Probably. He's still on his rookie contract, man. That's got to be
getting $1.5 million this year right now.
Yeah, that is ridiculously low. The problem is I'm not sure what our salary cap is, considering how much we've paid other people. And I think it's. I don't know, man. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he plays. I hope they figure this out. And I hope he plays, because I'm not sure if Madison's going to be able to be that guy this year. Maybe in a couple years, but Cook is too big of a cornerstone in that offense. And with the loss of Diggs, you need to have that corner, like the person you can rely on. And Cook and Thielen are the guys you can rely on in that offense. And if you lose your running back, nobody's going to have to focus on that run game, and they're just going to focus on your pass game, and you are going to be in a world of hurt.
Now,
I don't know.
Let me ask you this. He said that he wants Christian McCaffrey money. Should he get Christian McCaffrey money?
I mean, everybody wants to get paid, right? Look at Ezekiel Elliott last year. He wanted to get paid. He wanted that big time money. He wanted that Todd Gurley like money or whatever it was. Yeah, it took a while, but it's also Jerry Jones, man. This ain't Ziggy Wilf. So well, fair enough. I mean, Ziggy Wilf ain't Carl Pohlad either. So at least he's got some money that he can probably spend. But
The
I don't
opposite
know.
side of that, it didn't work for Melvin Gordon very well.
No, that is
You
true.
got two sides of it, and yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room here real fast. That if the NFL doesn't have fans in their stadiums this year, which is a possibility, watching a boxing without fans in their stadiums, that salary cap's going to come down like $30 million next year. Then what are teams going to do? They're going to start cutting people that don't have guaranteed money, and what are you going to do? Can you guarantee a guy money this year that you may not be able to afford him coming up?
You can guarantee some stuff, but restructuring of contracts is gonna be crazy. And I think I can just see Rich just itching to make a comment here. So
Yeah,
why don't you
like,
jump up in
there's-
on the money, dude? You love the money.
So here's what I know. As far as like collective bargaining, that's coming up pretty soon. So it's important for him to get his money. Now, you're breaking news to me right now that he wants Christian McCaffrey dollars. That's not what I heard this morning. I heard this morning he just wants to get paid as if he's not a rookie anymore. But if he does that, that screws him over. I don't know if we can say screws. I said it last week. It didn't get blurred. So it might screw him over in unrestricted free agency. That's the last I heard about this. As far as paying the man, you've built your team around him. You better pay him. If you weren't planning on paying him, get rid of him now and start with a 2-back system, or pay the man. You're going to cave anyways. I like the point brought up about fans not being in the stands. That is very important. We don't know where the salary cap is going in 2 years, I think, is when collective bargaining ends. So I am listening to you guys.
Yeah, a couple quick points on that. Unlike when Zeke was doing it, because Zeke had 2 years left on his deal at the time, Dalvin with 1 year left, if he decide with the new CB collective bargaining agreement that's in effect now, he has to show up by the first date of training camp or else he loses everything. And he doesn't get credit for anything. And now, if you don't show up, unlike Le'Veon Bell years ago, you do not get to become a free agent. It doesn't count as a year played. So he would become a restricted free agent the next year, which means he's not going to get paid regardless.
Doesn't that mean somebody has to give us a draft pick?
Yes.
Something to that effect?
It would be a first-round draft pick, which a restrictive is 2 first-round draft picks, I believe. 2 first-round draft picks. Because that was the same thing for the quarterback out of New Orleans. What's his name? They made him a restricted free agent. You know who I'm talking about.
Hill?
Yeah, Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill?
They would have had to give up, I believe it was 2 first-round picks to sign him away. No one's going to do that for Dalvin Cook, especially if you can't pay him if you have $30 million less on your cap. How are you going to do it? I mean, you're just not going to do it. Timing is the worst part in the world for Dalvin Cook right now. I mean, the worst thing that could happen to him right now is this timing that we don't know what, for the first time in forever, the salary cap's probably not going to go up. It's going to go down, and by a lot. And teams are going to have to restructure everything. So right now, teams like Dallas, who have all this guaranteed money in Zeke and I think they have guaranteed money in like 3 or 4 players right now, not named Dak Prescott. What are they going to do? Are they going to just run out there with 3 guys next year? I mean, it's crazy to think about. I think they get it done. I think they free up some money. I think what they're going to do is probably this is my hope anyways, they'll free up some of that Stephon Diggs money, give him a bonus this year, maybe pay him $8 million this year and say, hey, let's just make it for 2 years, and then after this thing is done, we'll renegotiate at that point. Hopefully he takes it. But yeah, he came out and he said he wants Christian McCaffrey money because Christian McCaffrey got paid this year. And let's face it, running backs in the NFL, it's a short-lived career. I mean, you move on. Todd Gurley signed a massive deal, 3 years ago, and now he was cut this year, and now he's playing for the Falcons, and he finally got past a physical. I mean, is anyone going to be talking about Todd Gurley like they talked about 2-3
So, yay or nay? Dalvin Cook staying with the Vikes, yay or nay?
I think they get it done. Yay.
I'm going to go with nay. Get rid of him. Depending on we don't know the dollars. Look, if he wants Christian McCaffrey money, get rid of him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If we can come to terms where you're like a mid-tier running back, then keep him.
Yeah.
But don't sign this guy for Christian McCaffrey money. That's ridiculous.
Vikings have too many holes they got to fill. They got so many things they got to rebuild. And I'm sorry, running backs, they're just think of one big money running back contract that's worked out for the team. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Exactly. Raider Live, you finally have learned from me on football. Good job. I'm glad you've listened to me over these years.
I just got to dip that sauce in it. That's what I got.
No. Jimmy James, I'm glad you've listened. You guys are finally listening to me on football.
I ain't listening to nothing, man. We got Kirk Cousins' contract is what's effing us right now. So
I said that already. I told you that. That tells me that you've been listening to me. Thank you, Jimmy James, for listening.
I don't hate
terrible.
Kirk Cousins. I don't hate Kirk Cousins.
I don't hate him either, but his contract can go right in the toilet.
Yeah, but
anyway,
look at it. He's only paid one of like the top 8 quarterbacks in the league.
I don't care. You want to keep Dalvin Cook? You restructure your contract, Christian boy. Let's do it. You don't get no extent. You drop some of that money that you got.
You two go get a room, man. No one's watching your football show. Let's move on to the filthy fan question of the week. Ding.
Yeah. All right. That's what we call in the business a transition. So let's move on to the filthy fan question of the week.
I'm kidding.
All right, Filthy Rich, since you're all fired up, our question this week comes from
you guys aren't going to stop if I didn't stop you. You guys are kept going, and you want to shorten the show, so let's go.
Fair enough.
That's fair. Last week we had international from Joe Sweat down in Mexico. We're not international this week, but we're outside of where we live. This is from Derek in Denver, and he asks, who would win a fight between Chavez and Duran?
Thank you, Derek, for your question. And I think he means Julio Cesar Chavez.
Isn't that what I said? I say Chavez. I did say Chavez. You're right.
Well, whatever you're saying, but let's not confuse it with Junior. We're talking Cesar Chavez Senior, not Junior. Not Junior. Not the
not
other
Caesar
one.
salad?
No. The king, the 87-0 Julio Cesar Chavez against Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Who do I think it would win if the two of them, let's say, met at welterweight in their primes? They meet at welterweight in their primes. I'm taking Julio Cesar Chavez just because I can't even get into it because anything I could say, you can make the same case for Duran. Now, taking them at how do I put it? Taking it at their primes. I think Roberto Duran in his prime was like a middleweight. Chavez in his prime was like the welterweight, super welterweight. If that's the case, I'm taking Duran because I think Duran's power is just too much for Chavez. I don't think Chavez can keep up with Duran. But at the same time, again, back to what I was saying earlier before I got sidetracked, if they were to meet at just welterweight, I think Chavez is the better welterweight out of the two. But in their primes, take Chavez at 27, Duran at 27. They're going to be at two different weights. I take Duran to win that fight.
So you kind of went off the rails. You picked both of them. That's kind of a safe answer there.
It depends. Like the context of the question isn't really there. If you told me that they were both fighting at 147, I will take Chavez. If you told me they're both fighting when they're 30 years old, then I would take Duran. That explains it. Maybe not, but that's my answer.
Well, I think the real question was could either of those guys beat Amir Khan?
Of course.
And the answer, of course, is no. But
not in a modeling contest. No.
Sometimes you get hit in the testicles. I mean, it happens. Judge Jimmy James, you got any sauce for that fight?
God. Man, I don't know. You say it like that, and I say no. That's terrible. That's just terrible, man. No, I'm not. We'll just do a real quick. Man, Roberto Duran. I think Roberto Duran wins. against that. That was my if I wanted like an all-time fight that never happened, that should have happened, I'd like to see. That was mine last week. Duran, man. I think Roberto Duran's his hands is just. I think he'd be better. But that would be, man. You want to talk about a great fight? That'd be a great fight to watch. They were both just kings of their eras, but I think Duran would be. I think Duran would put some Caesar salad dressing on it.
Big sauce.
No. You set yourself up for that one.
Yeah, I did.
I do like that.
It's starting to stick.
Was it 2 weeks ago? James was talking about a guy named The Dream, and I think all last week's show you kept calling him The Dream. I think the sauce might stick for a week or two.
Devin Haney is going to be known as The Dream as well, so I think that's going to, when Lomachenko's gone, I think Devin Haney's going to be your new guy.
Hey, and eating the smoked wings and ribs that you make in the bar, how good you are on a grill. I mean, the sauce ain't a bad nickname for you.
Maybe grilling, man. I don't like it with this.
He's going to quit the show, man. We got to stop. You got to stop, man. We could pick on him another time. I don't want him to quit the show.
Right.
That face looks like defeat.
Well, he won this week. He shouldn't be having that bad. You're the champ. But okay, Jim. All right, moving on. Thank you, Derek from Denver. I hope that answered your question. The Sauce chooses Duran, and Filthy Rich chose them both somehow. So I hope that answered your question. I guess that was Filthy Rich choosing a draw, maybe? I don't know. All right. Thank you very much. Let's move on to and by the way, if you have a question for Filthy Rich, go ahead and post it in the comments below, or post us on Twitter at Brews&Boxing on Twitter, or on the Raider Live Facebook page, or on the Raider Live YouTube page. But we need some more questions of the week, so go ahead and throw that in there, and we will hopefully answer it on the show. All right, let's move on to this week's Fight of the Week. All right, boys, next week we're doing Bantamweight for our Filthy Five. And it's a good division, a lot more fun than the Cruiserweight division, I'll tell you that. But we had to get the Cruiserweights out of the way. Sometimes you have to pull it off quickly like a Band-Aid. And Judge Jimmy James, do you have any fights next week that have to do with the Bantamweight, or do you have something totally different besides the Bantamweight division?
No, I think in the Bantamweight division, if you want to watch a fight, Naoya Inoue versus Nonito Donaire. That's going to be a good fight. That was both their last fights, and that wins. That was a good one. You should watch that one if you want to watch some two good boxers in this division. They're tiny, 118 pounds, but they're no joke. That's who I have for this week. But if you do, we do have live fights coming up as well, on the 16th in a week. Joshua Greer actually fights, who is also in the Bantamweight division, who is an up-and-comer fighter. You should watch him as well if you want to watch a live fight. So,
yeah, that'll actually happen a day before we record, so we can talk about that next week as well. And plus, if you watched and I know you did, watched our 10th episode, we talked about Inoue on our he made our pound-for-pound top 10 list. I believe he was in the 4 or 5 range. Does that sound about right?
He's up there.
Yeah, he was up there for sure. I think he was definitely on the left side of the screen, not the right side. But Filthy Rich, you look like you had your hand raised. You want to say something about that fight?
Didn't have my hand raised, but are you talking about Night Night is fighting Greer?
Nice, yeah.
Night, right?
He's fighting
on the 16th.
Yeah, next week.
Tuesday,
yeah.
Tuesday, okay, because there's a fight tomorrow. There's a 4-hour card tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There's another 4-hour card Tuesday, a 4-hour card Thursday, and a 4-hour card Saturday. So boxing is growing right now. The month of June is probably the biggest month in history. Well, I shouldn't say that. Biggest month of the century so far. In 20 years we've gone through.
How long has boxing been going? Over 100 years?
This century. I'm saying this millennium.
This new century. Okay.
Since 2000, since the year 2000, there has not been this much boxing in 1 month that I can ever recall. this is a lot of boxing going on for 1 month. But Night Greer, he takes a pillow out to the ring with him. That's the guy, right? Yeah. See, we know. I don't think Raider Live knows.
I don't, but I'm trying to think what would be a better
recognize
nickname
real.
for him. It would be Night or the Sauce. I mean, I kind of like Night better. I mean,
No, it's Night.
especially with that chair that he broadcast from with the nice knitted blanket that we got to put on there. It sounds like a night kind of chair, rocking someone night in that rocking chair,
No,
maybe.
Jimmy James.
Maybe not. I don't know.
The price
No.
you pay to win.
All right, boys. So check out that fight and check out all the live fights that are coming up this week. Boxing's back. Great to have it back. Things are starting to get back to normal. We're getting closer to normal. Get outside. Do something with your family outside. Talk to your friends. Stay social distance still. I mean, we still have problems with that. But, things are starting to get back to normal now. Enjoy your life. We made it. It's only going to get better from here. All right, boys, for Filthy Rich and Judge Jimmy James, I thank you very much. I didn't say the sauce. I wanted to, but I didn't. Thank you very much for joining us another week. And hopefully you'll join us again next week as we're doing bantamweights next week. It's going to be a fun one to talk about. Hopefully, Judge Jimmy James hopes he gets to hold on to his title. Filthy Rich is going to try to get his title back after losing it for 2 weeks, getting it back for a week, and now he's going to try to get it back after one more week. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. And I have nothing else to say. Peace out.